Hello and welcome to Tech Deal's Windows Performance Review Time with AMD's Ryzen 7 processor. We are running today at 4 gigahertz, and the results that you see today are applicable to any of the Ryzen 7 CPUs if you overclock them to a fixed 4.0 gigahertz. Now, I do have the 1700X installed. However, I've had all 3 CPUs installed on this motherboard. I have a 240mm liquid cooler, and I can confirm that performance is basically the same regardless of the CPU if running at a fixed 4.0 gigahertz clock speed. Now, I have CPU-Z pulled up here so you can see the various specs and the details. We are at 1.4 volts, and this is stable. I've been running this all morning, testing various programs. I've actually run through various tests. I've played several games on it. It's been running very reliably. I'm also pleased to state that I finally have DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM running on this machine. It did, however, take a really nice RAM kit to make that work. I'll comment about that down in the pinned comment in the video description below, but it is running, and I'll pull this up here. Those are the clocks. We're at 1600, which with being DDR double data rate, that's 3200, and we're basically at 16, 18, 18, 36, and command rate of 1T. So we have 16 gigs of RAM installed. We're at a fixed 4 gigahertz. We're at 1.4 volts. Very, very nice setup. What kind of performance can we expect? Let's come over here to Bench and click this. Now, CPU-Z is a free program that you can download yourself, run this on your own machine, and see how well it works. So for single-threaded performance, we have 2333. Multi-threaded performance, take a look at that. We're over 20,000 points. We're almost at 21,000. Now, that number doesn't mean anything. Let's take a look at some of the reference results. The direct competition to this CPU is the i7 6900K. Now, in fairness, these results are not overclocked. If you buy a 6900K, you would overclock it. But what a difference. That is a huge performance difference. How about the venerable Kaby Lake i7 7700K? More than double the multi-threaded performance. Now, that 7700K is running at 4.2 with a turbo of 4.5. I can tell you from personal experience that you'll be closer to 11,000 on Kaby Lake running at a fixed 5 gigahertz. I've done that. So you're looking at about 11,000 here for the CPU multi-threaded results on a 5 gigahertz Kaby Lake versus almost 21,000 on Ryzen 7 at 4.0. That is a tremendously huge difference. And if you are doing anything that will use 8 cores, such as the stuff I'm going to show you in this video, there really is no choice. It's Ryzen 7 or bust. Really quickly, just to compare this to some other CPUs that I have recently run, I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to show you the FX 8350 at 4 gigahertz. Now mine's running at 4.2, but this is 4 gigahertz turboing to 4.3. Take a look. This is actually respectable multi-thread performance. It's not that far off, maybe 20% slower than Kaby Lake. But look at the single thread performance, and this is where the FX chip really struggles. And anything that only uses 1 or 2 cores, it's really slow compared to the 7700K way up here. But multi-threaded is not nearly as different. So whether or not the extra money is worth it depends, of course, on what you're doing. From a dollars to performance perspective, the FX 8300 or 8350 is an incredible value for the money in terms of multi-threaded but not single-threaded performance. Now we're going to close that and we are going to open up CineBench, and I am going to run the OpenGL and then the CPU performance to show you what those look like. We'll click run and I'll trim it to where it's actually running. And here we are in the benchmark actually running. Now, I'm not going to show the whole thing because basically there's no real-time performance information. I just want you to see that it is in fact running. It looks beautiful. It's great. And let's jump to the results. And here we are at the results. So we're at the end of this, and how many frames per second did it get? 112.73. Is that good? It's just a number. You have to compare it to your own machine. You can download and run CineBench R15 for free. All these tests I'm showing you, you can basically do yourself and determine how much faster is Ryzen 7 compared to your computer. Let's run the CPU test and see how well that does. Whoa, look at that running. 16 threads, 8 cores. That thing is a rocket ship. 4 gigahertz. DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM. This is going to be done in no time. Now, when you run benchmarks, usually you want to run them 3 times and discard the high and the low and take the middle result. The reason being is cache, drive access, etc. Wow, that's a good score. 1770. Let's see if it gets any faster on a second run. You will often find that the results of each run vary by a couple of points. You could probably run this 10 times and it would never be exactly the same back to back to back, but it's going to be pretty close. And you want to see that you get consistent results. That can also help you determine if you're getting throttling or have some other problem with your system. Are your results repeatable? 1771. Let's do it one more time just to show you that these are in fact repeatable results, and because it's so much fun watching it go that fast. On some of the slower machines that I run, it takes a while to go, but that is just crazy. For a $300 or $400 processor, that's amazing. As I said before, any of the Ryzen 7 CPUs running at 4 gigahertz will perform exactly the same. Oh, same score, 1771. Very, very nice. That is by far the best score I've ever seen, and a substantial improvement over basically everything else that I've tested against. The next test I'm going to show you is 7-Zip. 7-Zip is a free program you can download. It's a compressor-decompressor for compressing folders and files to make them smaller, either just to save on storage space or to email them or upload them or just move them on a USB thumb drive. Now, it has a built-in benchmark, which makes it easy to run on different machines and test, rather than taking a large folder of files and compressing them and decompressing them, which is then storage speed dependent and platform dependent. This simply tests raw CPU performance. Now, the number I want you to look at here is on the right-hand side, the rating number. We have a compressing number, and we have a decompressing number. Now, this is a real time. It'll run this test over and over. And again, you can download 7-Zip and try this yourself. The resulting number is the conclusion based upon each batch run. So don't look at the real-time number, which fluctuates as much as the two results. 36,000 and 49, almost 50,000 for decompression, respectively. The total rating works out to about 43,000. That's a really, really good score. Try this on your own machine and see how well it does it. Now, this is all about how fast Windows or your programs or files you download from the internet can decompress, or how fast you can compress them. This is very, very CPU dependent. We are using not quite 1600% or all 16 cores. Compressing files and decompressing is very, very good at using basically every CPU core you can possibly throw at it. The next program I want to run is the CineBench benchmark software. Again, another free program that you can download and run yourself. Now, CineBench is a website that I refer to many, many times in different videos, in comments beneath. If you've never been to CineBench, you should. CineBench is cool because everybody running these programs continually improves the database. All these results get uploaded, and you can go on there and compare the performance of CPUs, graphics cards, solid-state drives, hard drives, various different systems. You can put in, say, an i7 versus the Ryzen. You can put in an RX 480 versus a GTX 1060, and it's thousands and thousands of benchmark results across thousands of machines that basically will tell you in general how fast is one piece of hardware compared to another piece of hardware. Great website, great resource. Now, this test that's running doesn't take very long, but it tests various parts of the machine and then gives you results. How good of a computer is it for gaming? How good is your computer for a workstation, for workstation level tasks? How good is your computer for general Windows web browsing, etc.? Now, it gives you 3 different basic scores and results, and then gives you specific numbers that can be used to compare to specific numbers of other hardware. Now, that might all sound like a lot of information, and it is. For simplicity's sake, if you want the short version, look at the 3 results: gaming, workstation, and basic Windows testing. Now, this is a short graphics test it's doing here just to compare that there with. Oh, that's kind of freaky. Look at all those cubes or earth or whatever it is. Oh, that's nice looking. There you go. It's looks like a manhole cover with a texture on it. And looks like a physics test there with the... Needless to say, it runs through these various... ooh, pretty, shiny. That's That's a lot of reflections right there. And here we are at the results. There we go. I've just zoomed in one to make it fill the full screen. So for gaming, we have the maximum possible rating UFO. We are at 115%. Now, what do these results mean? I'll open this up in a new tab. So for the various tests, you have UFO, nuclear submarine, this is just their funny labels for how they call it, all the way down to tree trunk. How many of you have a tree trunk for a computer? Post your results in the video description, in the comment section, not video description. Post your results in the comment section below as to what your system got. For a basic desktop machine, we're rated as an aircraft carrier, which is at 80%. For a workstation machine, we are at 99%. We have a nuclear submarine. How cool is that? For everybody who says Ryzen sucks for gaming, I don't think 115% and the maximum possible rating are a bad thing. Do you? No, I don't. Now you can come down here and actually see all the specific results here. You can see our 1700X. We're running at 4 gigahertz fixed speed. We are in the 99th percentile. This is one of the fastest desktop possible computers on Earth. We are actually at 102% of the theoretical maximum performance. That's incredible. And then, of course, you have the specific numbers: single core, quad core, and multi-core. Then we have our graphics card, our GTX 1080. Now, this is a Ryzen benchmark, not a graphics card benchmark, but take a look at this. We're at 140%. We're crushing it. We have an awesome card. Now, take a look at our storage results. Please note, I do not have the crucial MX300 storage executive software running with the boost. Now there is, you can engage the software boost, which uses available system RAM to increase the speed and performance of your SSD. I don't have that running. And the reason why this isn't great, look over here at DeepQ. This drive is not meant for workstation level uses. You want a more expensive SSD such as a Samsung 850 Pro or a 950 or 960 Pro if you're going to be doing heavily queued depths. This is a consumer level desktop drive, and at those, we're up here at 85 and 81%. Workstation level use, we're not. And of course, the hard drive is the hard drive. Our system RAM, you can see here I have G.Skill DDR4 4000 RAM installed, but it is running at 3200 megahertz. Currently, these motherboards in Ryzen does not support over DDR3 3200. I think that will change at some point, but at the moment, 3200 is the fastest it will go. But I do, in fact, have a nice G.Skill Trident Z kit of DDR4 4000. No, most of you should not buy it. It's expensive. Buy the 3200. It makes much more sense. Coming back up here to the results, you can see the summary. You can see we have all green boxes right here. I love this. Graphics, 140% is an outstanding 3D score. It's the bee's knees. This GPU can handle almost any 3D game at very high resolutions at ultra detail levels. The processor, with a brilliant single core score, this CPU is the business. It demolishes everyday tasks. This CPU's suitability for 3D gaming is outstanding. All the people saying that Ryzen sucks for gaming, frankly, are full of it. This is an awesome gaming rig, in addition to an awesome workstation computer. If you want a top-of-the-line machine, I really struggle to find any use for what Intel's offering today at current prices. Please note that that's at current prices now. Let me give you one addendum here, and I said this in my recent GTA 5 benchmark comparison between Kaby Lake, the 7700K, and Ryzen. If you are playing on a high refresh rate monitor, a 144 hertz monitor, yes, you probably should go with the i7. It is going to be better for high refresh rate gaming. If you are not playing on a 144 hertz monitor, then it makes no difference. They'll both rock wonderful in every game on the market at 1440p without any issues whatsoever. All right, enough of this test. Let's go on to the next one. And here we are in Handbrake. Now, I've done this once before, and I'm going to start doing this on all future machines. In fact, I'm going to go back and redo the Windows performance on my i7 machines to include this. This is Handbrake, a free program you can download as well. I have a 5-minute 1080p 60 frame per second video file loaded. I will be upscaling it using the included Roku 2160p 60 frame per second 4K preset. That's important because it makes it easy for you to repeat by using a preset. If I use custom settings, it would be too hard to repeat. It'd be easy to make mistakes. So I'm using that preset. I'm going to be outputting it to the SSD, so no write speed issues. No changes to all the settings. Everything is going to be left at the standard defaults. We are going to be encoding in H.265, not 264. That's important because that is incredibly CPU intensive. Audio, subtitles, everything is being left in standard. Now, I'm going to click the Start Encode button. I am going to trim this because this will take a while. Now, when I ran this on the Pentium G4560, which is actually the first machine I did this particular test on, it took over an hour. How long is it going to take on this? Now, of course, it should be much, much quicker than an hour. Will it be real time? No, because we're doing a 1080p 60 frame per second video upscale to 4K using H.265, which is incredibly intensive. It's going to take longer. How long? Well, I can already tell you this is massively faster than it was on the Pentium, but it does slow down a bit after it gets past the first section, and the reason for that has to do with what's in the video. The beginning of it is just a screen with it's black, and then the loading screen comes up, and then you see action. This particular video file is the first level in Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is when Lara Croft is crawling up the ice mountain. She falls down. She climbs back up using her ice picks. She goes through the cave. That's what this video is. So I've uploaded this. I've previously shown this on my channel before. At some point, I will actually put this specific video file up publicly so you can download the raw file and try this and code yourself on your own machine if you want. I don't have it uploaded at the moment. I will at some point upload it somewhere so it's publicly available. It's just a raw game file. It's no big deal. But we currently have an estimated time remaining of 9 minutes and 37, but notice it's increasing, 9 minutes 40, 9 minutes 42. Our average frame rate is currently running about 21, let's see, it's jumping around. This will stabilize. Take a look, we're already 15%. This is incredible. This was about an hour, if memory serves, an hour and 7 minutes on the Pentium G4560 2-core 4-thread processor at 3.5 gigahertz. That's just a little bit faster. All right, we'll trim this here and we'll come back when it's almost finished. And here we are with about 1 minute left to go. Now, in the interests of full disclosure, this machine is now running at 3.8 gigahertz. Everything has run perfect at 4.0 at 1.4 volts. This test, however, would not complete. If you look at the time in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice there's a huge time gap between when I was recording before and now. This test will not complete on this particular CPU with this particular cooler at 1.4 volts. It would complete at 1.45, but the problem is at 1.45, it ends up boosting a bit when it's under heavy load to 1.472. That's too much voltage. So at 1.40, this actually froze the machine and forced a reboot. So I brought it down to 3.8 gigahertz for this test. Now, Handbrake, this encode using the H.265 encoder is utilizing every last bit of the processor. You can see we completed just fine there. This just didn't want to run at 4.0 without additional voltage, and I simply didn't want to provide that voltage. Now, please note, we are currently running on the 1700X processor. What's interesting about this is this works fine at 4.0 on the 1800X. So it is entirely possible that the 1800Xs are binned better because the 1800X did run at 4.0 at 1.4, but the 1700X did not. In this specific test, everything else ran perfectly. The computer is now rebooted and we're back to 4 gigahertz. We are in the Heaven Benchmark 4.0. It's running here in the background, and I pulled CPU-Z up so that you could see that we're back to 4 gigahertz. Actually, I never even showed you we were down to 3.8 before. Take my word for it. I wouldn't tell you unless I really did that. But I brought this up so you could see, in fact, it was running here. I believe in honesty in testing and benchmarking. I explained what I did on the handbrake test. In fact, if I hadn't said that the machine was in fact running at 3.8, there's no way to have known. You can always trust that I will tell you what's going on with benchmarking. If I have to change clocks, if I have to change voltages midway through a test, I will tell you. My integrity and honesty in everything that I test is the most important thing I have, in my opinion. You need to know that you can count that when I tell you something is a certain way, it is. So I did, I rebooted, and we're back here to 1.4 volts at 3 gigahertz. Now, 4 gigahertz. Misspeaking doesn't count. That's just me having my tongue tied. Now I'm going to click the benchmark button and let this run. I may set this to music and let it run so you can enjoy it. We are running the extreme preset. You can do a custom set where you change all the settings, but the reason I choose the extreme set, which is why it's running in a window, is it's very easy for you to try this yourself. The Heaven benchmark is free. You can just go download it yourself, run it on your own machine, choose the extreme preset. It'll run in a 1600 by 900 window. All the settings will be grayed out because you can't change them with a preset selected. Click the benchmark and try running it yourself and see how well it runs. You can see up here our GTX 1080 is running with a clock speed of 2 gigahertz and a memory clock speed of 5 gigahertz. Please note that is not manually overclocked. Yes, that is way above what an EVGA 1080 for the win is shipped at. That's not the either stock or boost settings. That is NVIDIA's GPU boost running automatically. I've mentioned this in previous videos. It's worth mentioning again. The NVIDIA cards are doing a really good job of auto-overclocking themselves, and that has auto-overclocked itself to just over 2 gigahertz. Could I get 2.1 out of it by manually playing around with it? Probably. But I find the performance to be quite good, and so I'm happy enough with that. With that being said, I'll let this run, put some music on, and we'll be back in just a second. And here we've come to the end of the benchmark, 141.8 frames per second, a score of 35,730. The minimums and the maximums are quite wide, but basically it performs very, very well. What I will say is that this is very heavily graphics card dependent, so certainly if you don't have a GTX 1080, you aren't going to see scores anything like this. I will rerun this test on the AMD FX 8300 when I do its Windows performance review, and I will rerun this test on the i7 7700K. When I did that machine's Windows performance review, I didn't do all of these extra things, so I'm going to go back and refilm that and publish part 2 of that and include these items. The last thing I'm going to show you is my standard Windows performance review, web browsing, multitasking, playing videos. Here we are at my channel, youtube.com/c/techdeals, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, hey, why not 12 videos? And let's put each of these videos into theater mode. Why? Because it will force them into HD. Normally, when you first open videos at 1080p at this size, you'll see here we're at 480p, which is standard def. If you put it in theater mode, it forces it to 720p. Because I'm recording this at 1080p. And we'll make each of these, there we go, full size, shall we? This is 12 HD videos that we're playing. See, we're all at HD. So does this computer handle playing 12 HD videos? Absolutely. In fact, there's the, I just published this on Friday, the GTA 5, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and The Witcher 3 test. That, yeah, I know I blow stuff up. I have entirely too much fun. This one is at 60 frames per second. Cooler Masters V850, nice. All right, so does this play perfectly? Absolutely. In fact, we'll pull up Task Manager and we'll come over here to Performance. Let's see how much usage we are actually getting out of our CPU. Yeah, big deal, 6%, no big deal. Now, notice that the maximum speed is 4 gigahertz here, but notice that this speed reports something lower. Windows has not been properly updated to use the Ryzen processors. Yes, it recognizes that it's a Ryzen 7, but if we open CPU-Z, you'll see it reports that we are in fact at 4 gigahertz. This is being incorrectly reported. Likewise, if you take a look at our memory, we are running at DDR4 3200. But if you look here, Windows only reports that we're running at the default clock speed for memory. So Task Manager represents the fact that Windows doesn't actually recognize the AM4 platform properly. The drivers are very immature. The entire platform is raw. New chipset, new socket, new CPU, new process, new memory controller, new memory type for AMD. Everything is brand new, and it is going to take a little bit of time for the tools, for Windows, for drivers, for programs and applications to get caught up to it. I have said this before, and I will say this again. AMD's Ryzen 7 is currently at its worst possible situation. It's as bad as it's ever going to get. It's only going to get better from here as everything starts to take into account this brand new platform, this first all new platform in 5 years from AMD. Intel solutions, on the other hand, are an incredible refinement from Sandy Bridge over the past 5 or 6 years, and they're the best they're ever going to get. So I expect the gap to close, and this over the next 3 to 6 months is only going to get better. Now, how well does this work if we open up Chrome? Longtime viewers of my channel will know that I love opening up Yahoo Sports. It is a very technically challenging website. There's a lot of internal code going on. Now, this is not a criticism of the content. If you like Yahoo, great. What we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know that I have ever done 12 Yahoo Sports tabs. If I have, I don't remember doing it. We are going to push this to insanity. Now, one thing that we can do, even though Task Manager is not correctly reporting the clock speed or the memory speed, will it correctly report utilization? Possibly. Since the others aren't correct, you can't count on this 100%, but I'll put it up because I do it in other videos. How smooth does, well, yes, it's butter smooth, of course. I would expect nothing less from an 8-core, 16-thread, 4 gigahertz processor. That's nice. We have got 12 Yahoo Sports tabs. Try this on your own computer. Go to sports.yahoo.com and try quickly clicking across the top and opening 12 Yahoo tabs and quickly moving between them and see how smoothly this runs on your own machine. There is no lag or issues. Now there's loading because it has to load stuff in here. Oh, I reached the end of the page. I'm sitting here going, where's all the rest of the stuff? Nope, sorry, that's it. Nothing there. I'll click around to some additional tabs, standings, salary database, recruiting. I'm not a sports fan, so I have no idea what these things are. Yeah, runs perfectly. That is very... Now, are you going to really open 12 Yahoo Sports tabs and actually use them on a normal basis? No, of course not. How are our videos playing? No, perfectly. No issues whatsoever. There we go. Hey, look at that. There's a $500 budget build for you. Solid state drives for the win. Our CPU is hardly being used. This is completely trivial for this machine. That is a very, 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 very nice experience. Now, let's see. I actually don't have it installed at the moment. Let's go download Firefox and install it. I had it installed. I removed it simply because I don't use Firefox, but we'll go ahead and download this and install it while leaving 24 tabs open and running, shall we? Go ahead and minimize that. We'll minimize that. Yep, we'll install all this. Standard. Next. Launch Firefox now. Why not? I include Firefox in my other tests, so we'll download and install it, include it in this one. No, we don't want to import anything. And let's go to one of my favorite shopping sites, Amazon.com. Hi, dress shop girl. You're always here to greet me. Now, this is the new and improved 2017 dress shop girl. She is advertising less dress and more legs. Well, I don't know. I commented on that one day. My wife was walking by, and I said, hey, honey, dress shop girl's back. She was gone for the holiday season, and she goes, that's not dress shop girl. That's leg shop girl. Well, what can we say? Let's do this. And here we are looking at the AMD Ryzen 7 1700 processor with the Wraith Spire LED cooler. For most people, this is the one I would recommend buying. $330, and it includes an excellent cooler. In my opinion, the deal is to buy this one, use the included Wraith Spire cooler, and run it at 3.7 gigahertz, which is its top turbo speed. That's not really an overclock. I would set it to that in the BIOS because it's unlocked, and so you can force it to run at the top turbo speed on all the cores. Reports that I have read, I haven't tried this myself, is that actually works pretty well for most people. And you can do it on a relatively inexpensive processor. If you want a small motherboard, take a look at this. Here is an Asus B50 for $90. This motherboard will let you overclock all the Ryzen CPUs. You don't have to buy an X370. You don't have to spend $150 or $200 on a motherboard just to overclock the processors. Now, if you're spending $330 on a CPU, could you buy this? Absolutely. I don't think you need to. I think for most people, going middle of the road will actually make the most sense. This might make an excellent choice. $180 for an MSI X37 Gaming Pro Carbon would be nice, or maybe $10 less here for a Asus Prime X370 Pro. Excellent choice. For anyone wondering if you somehow get magical overclocks by spending more money on a motherboard, not really. This is the motherboard that I'm currently using. This is what AMD sent me to test on, a $300 motherboard. Would I spend $300 on a Ryzen motherboard? No. It's shiny, it's nice, it's got extra features, it's got a blingy look to it. It even has the metal covering over the RAM slots right up here. There's no value for the money here. If you just like the look of it and you don't care and you have the money, and knock yourself out. However, I would like to note that this motherboard actually has had more BIOS issues than the other motherboards. Several people have received the Crosshair 6 board from Asus and had fewer issues. I have been through 3 BIOS updates on this already, so don't think that spending more money fixes all of your problems magically. And as I noted in the Handbrake test, it doesn't magically make your chip run any faster than it's going to on the other boards. Now, it does have a good cooling solution up there, but then again, so does the Gaming Carbon Pro, which you can see right here. It's very, very similar. And this even has the metal on the RAM slots. I would save yourself $130 and buy this one if you want an MSI mother. I'm not ragging on MSI. Buy this one. I'm sure it's fine. The titanium is, it's what I would call the top dog tax. It's just expensive because it can be. There's a huge amount of profit margin in those motherboards, and the top-end boards are rarely worth the money from a dollars to performance point of view. Now, can I open up many tabs here? I am going to open up actually some rather specific tabs rather than just clicking on them. I'll open up towers, and we'll look at keyboards and monitors, PC components. How about we look at some graphics cards and gaming components, storage, and RAM. And while we're at it, we'll go back to the main computer homepage. How does this look? Now, the scrolling here is not as smooth as it is in the other web browsers. Is that because the computer's overloaded? Is that because it's Amazon's site? Or is that because it's Firefox? The only way to know is to change. This is not actually that smooth right here. But if we come back over here, smooth as silk. Yep, perfect. Look how smooth that is. If we come back to Firefox, yeah, it's kind of jumpy actually. That is not that great. Is it because the CPU is busy? Nope. So it's either Amazon or it's Firefox. Here's how we're going to find out. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and close that. We're going to reopen Chrome. And now here we are in Chrome, and I have opened up even more. Wow, okay, that's perfectly smooth. So basically Firefox stinks. What can I say? That is absolutely perfect in all respects. Can we click on towers? Yes. Yeah, okay, so Firefox is just bad. That is perfect. Absolutely, totally, 100%. No issues whatsoever. Perfect. So was a Firefox issue. How are our videos going? Yep, still playing. How's this one? Hey, there's Fallout 4. There's the Cooler Master power supply. Oh, what are we? We're 13 minutes into this. So these are all still playing in the background. If you are looking for that train's not going to be good. If you're looking for a computer that can heavily multitask, I would hope by this point you know it's going to be Ryzen. 8 cores, 16 threads. This is going to be a multitasking beast. You will be able to run not an unlimited number of programs at the same time, but a lot. With all those resources, you essentially now are able to get the 8-core, 16-thread i7-9600K, which was a $1,050 processor, or still is technically, for $330. That is an incredible value for the money. I am so excited about Ryzen 7 because it brings the 8-core level down to normal people prices. That is just I could almost watch this. Okay, we're not going to watch that because otherwise I'll just sit there and look at it. Go ahead and close all these tabs. Everything closes instantly with no issues whatsoever. Small CPU usage spike there just when I closed everything at once, but other than that, no big deal. Very, very nice. This has been the AMD Ryzen 7 Windows Performance Review. I will do this again when I actually do a proper Ryzen build, which will be coming up very soon, and I will test this again on the 1800X and see if I can't get Handbrake to run on that at 4.0 gigahertz without an issue. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with that big huge red button directly below this video. Questions and comments in the comment section below, and as always, check out the video description. Links down there to Amazon and Newegg for the Ryzen processors for Ryzen motherboards will all be down in the video description, as well as my other various AMD Ryzen videos. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.